So this is our first lecture on chapter 21. I'm sorry, 22. Hello. It's early in the morning. And this is where we begin to study Article 2 of the UCC. So before we do that, I kind of want to set the stage. The UCC stands for Uniform Commercial Code. What does that mean? A uniform law is a law that is the same, uniform, across, in our case, the states. So way back in the 50s, 50s was just around television time, before cell phones. The commissioners, people appointed by the legislative state, got together from all the states to try and make their laws similar, if not the same, to all the other states. And the reason for this is because something had happened in the 50s, was happening in the 50s, that changed the scope of how things worked in commerce. Specifically, if you remember your history at all, that's when the interstate system was really being built, when President Eisenhower was in the Oval Office, in the White House. So what distributors and manufacturers were finding was that they had to change what they did from one state to the next, because they had different laws, and what they wanted was the same thing, so they had to change their marketing, change distribution patterns, etc. So that was the impetus behind the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC. All we care about, particularly in this one, is Article 2. Article 2 is in the back of your book. Almost all of it's replicated back there. And Article 2 is concerned with sale of goods. So, remember in the beginning of the semester we talked about sort of the pecking order, importance of laws, and the Constitution is always first. Next is statutory law. Below that is common law. What we've been studying so far has been common law, the common law of contracts primarily. We're now about to get into statutory law. These laws, this UCC, was adopted by our legislature. And if you ever want to look it up or Google it or something, if you Google MCL, which stands for Michigan Compiled Laws, 440, that's the chapter that these are in, point whatever it is in here, 2201, for example, which is the statute of frauds under the UCC. Sale of goods, Article 2, you'll find it, and you'll see what the law looks like. So from here on out, we're pretty much looking at statutory law. And when there's a dispute between statute and common law, the statute always wins. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because we need to learn things a little bit differently now. A lot of the concepts of the UCC are the same ideas, the principles, the axioms, the rationale behind what the common law was. But some things are different. And the first thing we need to understand is we're talking about goods. Goods is sometimes defined as anything that can be moved. But it's more than that. It's rights in those things too. So I'm not going to get deeply into this, other than to raise an issue. You ask yourself, what's the difference between a bailment and a sale of goods? The sale of goods is transfer of title to tangible personal property for a price. That's the definition. So what's the difference between that and a bailment? Next, what's the difference between that and a gift? Next, what's the difference between an Article 2 sale of goods and a contract for services? In each of those, at least one element is different or missing. So, in the discussion for Chapter 22, you should try to answer those questions. And I'll see you there.